Děkujeme za vaši podporu na Hero.
Díky ní vám přinášíme inspirativní rozhovory a kvalitní seberozvojový obsah.
A lot of people that you meet, they say, oh, you're living the dream, this is my fantasy, I want to do this, how do you do it? And then you go ahead and you tell them, this is how you do it. And then you show them, you have everything you need to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. And then most of the people, that's it. They don't do anything with it. So there's a real difference between what people want in theory, their fantasy, and then actually doing it. When you face them with the reality, hey, go ahead, nobody's stopping you, they quit. And the opposite of that I've seen is that I've spoken to people who have left, to a lifestyle of travel, and I told them, who did you talk to? What is the research that you did? How did you get to this? And they're like, oh, I just wanted it, and I decided, and I went for it. I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't need anyone's advice. I just went ahead.
But that's not our story.
That's not our story, yeah, but that is the majority of stories. It's like that. It's the ones that think they want something, they don't really want it, most of them. As opposed to those who really do want it, they just go and do it. So...
just do it.
Yeah. So no, I mean, I'm not against this, and I'm in favor, obviously. But from what I've seen, it'll help those who are already on their way. It will not convince those who'll never get there.
Maybe in future lives.
Yeah. But those who are already on their way, yes, it'll help them.
We're not here to convince anybody. We're just here to tell our story and inspire people.
Yeah. But I mean, in the context of why, of your motivation.
Yeah, I think it all started 12 years ago when Yuli was born. She changed everything. I think I was just very ready to listen to what she wants, and I could follow what she was asking of me. So none of this was planned at all. I thought I would be going back to work after a few months, but she didn't want me to go. And she didn't want to stay with anybody else. And I could sense this very strong
Request.
This very strong request from her to be with me, to be with us, to be together. And a whole shift of priorities and of what life means and what is the purpose of everything and why am I even doing this. And so very quickly I realized, okay, so I'm not going back to work, because going back to work would mean to take all the money I make at my job and to pay a nanny to be with my daughter, to raise my child, and that never made sense. So we didn't do that. And it just rolled from there. So in Israel you get paid leave only 3 months.
It's a baby factory. Yeah, in Israel it's so homeschooling and unschooling is actually a recognized I don't know how to call it, right?
Option.
It's an option. So it is a thing. It's not illegal, unlike in some countries. But in Israel, it's pretty much, it's divided to up to school age and then after. So up to school age, because it's so extreme, because you get so little rights, there's a lot of people who, well, relatively a lot of people, there is a community everywhere. And it's toddlers, basically. It's little kids. Then once you get to school age, it declines drastically. There's very, very little people. There is a small amount of people who keep homeschooling and unschooling. The vast majority of those who do it before, they continue to all sorts of alternative schools like Waldorf and I don't know, other kinds.
Democratic, forced
Democratic,
schools.
yeah, all sorts of different, like not traditional and alternative schools, or the kids just do go to school because it's not like, it's more about, in Israel, it's more about let's not stay away from our babies and toddlers, but then when they get to school age, then they just join the general population. Again, the vast majority. Yeah, I think this is where the other part of why unschooling for us is, and that's that like I call us as educational systems, people who got hurt by educational systems, because for me, both school and high school and later, I tried a little bit of university. It didn't work. It doesn't make sense. It's such a waste of time, energy, resources. 95% of the time is wasted on nothing. A lot of it is negative, because without parental supervision, and in Israel, I don't know, I was in classrooms of 40 kids and one teacher, and that's like normal. That's the standard.
That's the size of the class.
Okay, and you know, kids are cruel. And for me, I was a
Immigrant.
I was an immigrant, and so I got like probably not the worst of it, but I didn't get. It wasn't nice. And you know, kids are always bullied. If I wasn't an immigrant, you know, everybody gets bullied, everybody gets hurt, and we think that, you know, in life also is not fair, right? You need to know how to stand for yourself. But we think that the whole attachment parenting, we think that yes, kids need to be able to cope with it, but first they need to grow the resilience inside of them, instead of being thrown out into the deep water and have to fend for themselves however they can or cannot, which is how I feel that my life as my childhood was. And yeah, I survived, sure, like I'm okay and I function in society, but I don't want my kids to go through that. And so the educational systems, at least the ones I've been a part of, they're like that. They're cruel, they're cold. And I'm happy for the people, for the kids or adults that flourish in them, and I know some of them and I'm happy for them, but that was not my experience. And I don't want to gamble with her life. I don't want her to go through with it. If she decides to pursue higher education, whatever she chooses to learn, to study, in however, in which way, method, from which direction, that should be her choice. And I will help that and I will facilitate that. But I don't want her to learn things that are never going to be relevant to her life like I did. Like I studied, I'm an atheist, and I was forced to study basically Bible studies. I hated it. I was terrible at it. I don't believe in it. Why? Because somebody decided to? Because somebody has a political or some social agenda? No, it's useless
I like
to me.
it with stories.
Anyway, and like also in, like you can talk about legacy, religion, your origins, whatever it is. But if we take even a different kind of subject, like literature, I didn't like it. I never did. She did. We have the opposite experiences. And like, I don't want to force my kids to learn things which have zero correlation with who they are and what interests them. I want them to focus on what they care about and what they're good at, and what interests them. So that's kind of where it, you know, how it continued. Plus, there's the whole narrative of the, you know, the educational system is made in a way that you raise compliant people who are smart enough to carry their jobs, to do as they're told, but never challenge those systems, never challenge, why are we doing it like this? Can't we do it better? No, you need to sit down, do your job, be good enough at that, but never raise your head. Never think about, oh, maybe we can do this differently, maybe we can do it better. That's not, yeah.
Yeah, my school experience wasn't that bad. It wasn't bad at all. But I don't think it's what would have been best for me. I don't think it's what's best for any child, honestly. You said about kids who do flourish in school. I think those would be 20% of the kids. Kids whose school is really made and designed for them, and they love it, and they're great at it, and it's fun for them.
And they actually learn things there. I didn't learn, maybe 5% I learned of everything that, I've attended. I was there.
And I think on the other end of the spectrum, there's 20% of kids who really suffer in school, who have such a hard time, and it's so horrible for them. It's so soul crushing to be in that place. But again, that's also just 20%. And then 60% are just people who would be better off doing anything else. If they like art, they should be pursuing art. If they like music, they can be doing music. If they like astronomy, whatever it is that their passion is, they would be so much better. Their time would be so much well spent if they just did that. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and there's also the aspect of attachment parenting, where if I was one of 40 kids, the teacher doesn't know anything about me apart from, my name and my grades. Even if they want, they can't, they don't have the time, they don't have the resources. And people are so different, and kids are so different from each other. They're interested in different things, they have their minds, they're different people, they have different needs, and they think in different ways. You cannot generalize it. I mean, you can, and that's what the system does, that's how it works, but it doesn't work for the best, works for the best for everyone. And I think that, yes, collectively as society, schooling definitely, has advanced humanity in many ways. But nowadays, I don't know if we can't do better. And specifically for us, we found that I think that we can do better, and we have that option, and so we're trying to. And I don't think of myself as a good teacher or anything like that, but I can't imagine us doing a worse job than the school system. So no matter how badly we fail or succeed or whatever it is, it's not going to be worse than sending kids to school.
I want to talk about the attachment aspect of it, which was really, I would say it was my reason for all of this. I think kids learn best when they're happy, when they feel safe, when they feel loved, and they can't get that at school. They can't get that from their peers, and they can't get that from the one teacher that they see for 1 hour. It's not possible. And it just feels more natural to live your life with your children, to raise your children to be the biggest part of their lives when they're small, when they want that, when they really want to be with you.
When they need it, they're dependent.
Yes.
So one more thing about the whole attachment versus schooling, because I really see it as, I don't know if they're opposites, but they're very different, right? And I think that one of the problems today with our educational systems is that they don't teach you life skills. They give you certain knowledge in various domains, subjects, right? But then it's very theoretical. It is rarely relevant to individuals and to society. Now, I'm not saying it's bad to know history, of course not. But none of the things that I've been taught in school have, or a tiny fraction of the things that I've been taught in school have actually helped me in life to navigate career, to navigate personal choices, to
Open a bank account, pay your taxes, go shopping, do the laundry.
To pursue a career, and that is even in the what I do. I'm a programmer, and so in theory, math and all sorts of other things should have helped me. They didn't. They don't. I mean, yes, they're nice to have, but they are not the foundation that schooling is supposed to be. Okay? And what I think that one of the reasons that I think that we were traveling the world, we stopped, but we were, is that our kids, they have been exposed to a whole lot more than you would learn in a classroom. Now, it's a completely different kind of exposure, right? So instead of, I don't know, literature and history and math and whatever, geography, they actually get to experience. Now, a lot of it is very, very unstructured. But then again, for example, if we go and we choose houses, for example, or apartments of where to live, or I don't know which car to rent, then we go there, attachment, with our kids, and we show them and we share and we talk to them, and they are a part of the decision-making process. So they understand, okay, the location of this house and the proximity and the distance and the price and the layout and the amount of rooms and what are the features that we have here. Those are very difficult to quantify, but these are essential life skills. It's stuff that you don't learn in the classroom. So yeah, you graduate and you know, I don't know, geography and history or certain aspects of these subjects, right? Whatever you were taught, which is also something that's
very debatable for me. I don't remember, 95% of everything I learned in school is completely wiped out of my mind.
I remember a lot more, but it's useless mostly. It's not applicable to my life. It's not relevant.
So when we first found out that it's an option to just travel the world with your kids, it was like an explosion in our minds. It was like, wow, I want that. I want that. I don't want to live in one place all my life. I want to be everywhere and I want to see everything. And having kids not only doesn't limit me, it also is such an amazing opportunity because I get to share all of this with them and give them such a rich experience of life and of the world. And so we immediately wanted it. But then how do you do it? It didn't seem possible. And we would tell people about it and they would be like, oh yeah, for sure you'll do it. Yeah, okay. Nobody believed us. Nobody thought it was possible. And so I think the first step was really believing that it's possible. Which for us, we were trying to figure out financially. How does it happen? Because we need money.
It's like that. It's a lot of it is gifts, which, it's a nice token, but it's consumerism. It's just plastic and paper and it's just stuff. And some of it is pretty, some of it is nice, but mostly it's useless. It's a ceremony that everybody kind of follows. Our theme here isn't minimalism, but I get minimalism now without kind of wanting to go. It kind of life forced us into it, and now I understand it. It's nice to have less things. You know, we used to move houses a lot back then because we didn't have a place of our own, so we rented. And so we were forced to move out of one apartment to another. And although we moved within the same city, which is not a big move, it was, you know, if before kids, it was not a big deal because, you know, you take a car, you fill it, you take a few friends, you go on a weekend or a couple of weekends and you're done with it, you've moved. But then with kids, it's just terrible. It's a whole month of your life that goes away because it's endless. And you need everything. And you need it now. And because you need to feed kids and to take care of them and all of that. And so
We call it to get out of the matrix.
Yeah.
We've also escaped that
the mundane,
the one-size-fits-all lifestyle.
yeah, the
that
norm.
That you try so hard your whole life to fit into this box and you don't fit and you feel bad for not fitting because this is the box you're meant to fit in. This is how everybody lives. And there's something so freeing to just be yourself and be the size you are and the shape you are and be just free. Is your life terrible?
No,
I thought your life was amazing.
it is.
Okay. But it was terrible when we were traveling.
Yeah.
And what was terrible?
Everything.
Tell us. Do you want the mic on you?
So, should I tell the bad stuff?
Yeah, if you can. Yeah, you can talk.
All the bad stuff?
I remember
You can tell all the stuff you want to tell. Yeah. So she had to leave Israel now because she lives very close to Gaza, and her home is being bombed constantly now. In the center as well, my parents are being bombed constantly as well, but they can't leave because they have a lot of dependents on them, and she's there by herself, so she could just come and stay with us.
Yeah.
I think one of the most worrying consequences of that, and here we're a part of a big Israeli community, and there's big Israeli and Jewish communities all over the world, and a lot of them are feeling unsafe now. They're feeling waves of anti-Semitism, and I don't know, I feel like it's become very hard for, yeah, it's just that it's become that pro-Palestine became anti-Israel and anti-Jewish, and I feel that that was a mistake, that there should have been a very, very clear separation between being pro-Palestine and being anti-terrorism, because they're separate things. The Palestinian peoples are also victims of the Hamas. They're also suffering under that
regime.
The terrorist regime. They're not happy about it either.
Yeah.
They're helpless.
Yeah.
And
they don't deserve it, not any more
Israel
than we do.
could actually be like their savior. I hope that that's what's gonna, I mean, I don't think war can solve anything, but they're doing it anyway, so at least I hope that this will like make life better for the Palestinians who deserve a better life just as much as the Israelis and the Jews. I hate the warmongering and the hate that's been coming up.
That's what extremism causes, the divide. It's like you're either left or you're right, you're either black or you're white, there's nothing in between. There's no room for if you're, you know, you're either for or you're against, because you either kill or you get killed.
I don't agree that it has to be that way. I feel like we live a very extreme life. We're doing things very differently, but we are very accepting of all ways of life.
Yeah.
It's not like because we don't vaccinate, we're not going to be with vaccinated people. Or because we unschool, we're not going to be with, you know, public school people. Not at all. We love everybody. Or because we're vegan, we're not going to share meals with meat eaters.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. I just want peace. Just want everybody to be happy and safe and free.
Maybe they are not ready to be saved yet. That's why they are doing it.
Yeah.
Which is why I think that for us, this whole leaving Israel, which is what we did 6 years ago, I think that on an individual level, it's the only thing that you can do, the only meaningful thing you can do. We have guaranteed that she will not go to the army, that she will not be subjected to terrible things where we know they're happening. They may happen here as well, but it's less likely, and we know that she's not going to be there. And that's the one thing that you can do, right? That's the one thing that you can, voting, sure, democracy and all of that, it doesn't change much. I'm not saying don't vote, but your vote doesn't count that much. You're one of millions, right? But taking your things and going somewhere where you're not afraid for your life, that's something you can do. It reminds me, if we go back to how we started this lifestyle.
If you want to unschool your kids or go travel, ask them what they want, because they're, especially with the unschooling, they're who you're thinking about. So I think it's really important to ask them what they want, because there are all kinds of different types of people. Like you said, there are people that like it, people that don't. So if someone would want to stay in school.
What do you like it?
I think so. I think I would be okay in school, but I think that unschooling is better.
What do you like about it?
I don't know. I haven't really been in school, so I don't really know what I like about it.
Yeah, you can't really compare
Yeah.
what it would be, how life would feel differently.
Mhm. That's it.
Děkujeme za vaši podporu na Hero.
Díky ní vám přinášíme inspirativní rozhovory a kvalitní seberozvojový obsah.